Welcome to the Thunder and Lightning Show. Today we have John the Byzantine here with Brett the Byzantine, right?
Yes, we'll be going to Byzantine Divine Liturgy for Christmas Eve. Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
well, we're going to air our grievances today, so we'll see. Maybe because of our statements, maybe the Vatican will consider banning the Byzantine Divine Liturgy because of hateful comments. I don't know.
Long term, yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, now that the Vatican has expanded canon law to about insulting the Pope to apply to the laity,
there you go.
I'm looking to get in on that action. I'm like Ann Barnhart. I want the certificate on my wall. But anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves. First
Yeah.
of all, let me wish you a happy Festivus.
Yes, and you can see we're in a festive mood today, and Festivus is from a Seinfeld episode. I did actually watch some of the clips on YouTube, Brett.
Oh, good.
Be proud
Yes,
of me
yes,
for that.
yes. I
And
am. Yes.
really, it's quite simple. It's an airing of grievances as part of this Festivus ceremony. If you want more information, you can obviously go to YouTube and waste a few minutes of your life watching Seinfeld. Seinfeld's hilarious, but it's never productive. I think you can.
Well, I have to agree with that. Yes.
But we have quite a bit of gripes. Actually, not enough for the entire. I don't know the confines of this program. maybe we'll have to do an extended episode at some point, or
Well, I don't know.
come out another. Yeah, I don't know. Gripes are enough, and really, I don't know if we're going to dwell too much on one topic or not either. I think we could. If we stuck to Pope Francis, I think that would last
an hour.
Yeah, so maybe we'll keep it short. Do you actually want to kick it off, Brett?
I do.
Or do you have anything to add?
I do. All right. Well, happy Festivus. Festivus was a personal holiday created by a guy in 1966. His son became a writer for Seinfeld, the television show, and he told the other writers about it. They're like, "Oh, we got to work this into a show," and they did, and it has become one of the most famous episodes of Seinfeld ever. Now, and of course, it's Festivus. It's for the rest of us. It's for all those people. It is a cri de coeur against the commercialization of Christmas. So in that, we can all get together and hold hands and sing Kumbaya. But it begins with the Festivus dinner, and after that, the airing of grievances. And in the immortal words of Frank Costanza, the character, I got a lot of problems with these people, and now you're going to hear about it. And that is about the Catholic laity. Excuse me, not about the laity, although they will get theirs as well. But this is about the hierarchy of the Catholic Church, all the way from Pope Francis down to your parish priest and everybody in between. I got a lot to say, and it ain't pretty. All right. So, with that, I hardly know where to begin. Well, I do know where to begin. Who started this little war? Francis, Pope Francis. He's the one that decided, as soon as he became Pope, the thing to do was to insult the laity. Yes, and he's been doing it, calling us Promethean, Neo-Pelagian jerks. And there is a blogger, Lawrence England, the Bones, and he started 8 years ago. He started a little thing he called the Little Book of Papal Insults, and he thought, you get a couple pages, no big deal. It's still going on. Francis never goes a week without insulting faithful Catholics. So anything I say is, I got 7.5 years to go to even catch up. So
yeah, there's not much I mean, it's all been said on the internet, Twitter,
Yeah.
YouTube, whatever. It's already been said. Can't really repeat any of it because we'd just be redundant. You
Well,
know?
as a member of the redundancy of Department of Redundancy, um, no, but there are some classics out there. Um, our good friend Muntebor, who is quite the blogger, he loves to refer to the Pope as an evil clown, um, which he is, which he is, um, and he's rude. How rude is he? Oh, wait a minute. Let me take a phone call. Hold on. He did that again.
Yeah.
On purpose. Merry Christmas to you. Really? Oh, I don't like. He doesn't have lots of clerical flunkies who could take a phone call. Oh, the Pope. This is the time when he has the audience. In the audience hall. This is not the time you call the Pope. He'll call you right back. No, very important. It's Satan on the line, and I need to speak to him directly, apparently. And of course, he is, well, I don't know. How do we get into this? How do we talk about the little devils that he wants everyone to inject into themselves, including small children at this point? Um, the little devils that are suspected of causing the deaths of hundreds of thousands of people who have received them. Yeah, and of course, definitely has been tested on aborted fetuses, um, and he's
Yeah,
for that. He's for that.
that's not
He's
convenient.
absolutely 100% for that, and he's gone out of his way to own it, and it's horrific. And today in the Vatican, you have to have the super green, not the green pass. No, that we were just jabbed a few times. No, you need the super green pass to even come in, because that's how Catholics are. We don't let anybody in. I mean, we're not there. We're not trying to save the whole world, are we? Or are Catholics actually trying to save everybody, every human soul in the world? Yeah, I think they are actually, or we used to, but now with the jab, not so much. No, we've gone total virus religion, led from the top, led from Pope Francis, Taoist practitioner, psychiatric patient. Uh, this is all out there. I ain't making any of that up. I'll let you know when
Yeah.
I'm making something. Yes, he certainly. Thank you, Patty. Yes, he sure did. Yeah, and that was right before the virus went worldwide, and it was a woman from China. It was a woman from China, and he got all afeared because it was a woman from China who grabbed onto him. Oh, no, it's almost as if he knew something. Now that's something I'm making up, but it's good, isn't it? I mean, yeah.
You might not be so far off.
We might not. It's like when in the early days, and people still say this, but they say it really quietly now. Thank the Lord. Thank you, Lord. They say, well, we won't know if this guy is a really good pope or a real pope until we have the next pope, and he has to decide. We're not saying that anymore, at least not publicly. No, we're not waiting for the next pope. Anyone
Yeah, I
who
mean,
hasn't. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yeah,
Go ahead.
we basically lead the news cycle. I mean, I don't mean to get all arrogant on you, but or anything,
No, we do.
pat myself on the back, but we
It's
talk
not about
about
patting
things and then
yourself.
maybe a year later it becomes popular to talk about, and I'm like, hey, hold on, we have a video about this a year ago and no one really paid attention to it.
Well, no one
So
ever
I
pays
mean,
attention except for our fine viewers who we love dearly. Um, and let me just say this about that really quickly. Ryan couldn't be here tonight. And there's a specific reason for it, because Ryan is observing Advent. Ryan is fasting from all this silliness. He's fasting. He's fasting from silliness. He is trying to have a prayerful Advent. Thank you very much. And we expect him to come back energized and ready very soon certainly after Festivus and probably after Christmas as well.
Yeah, and the rest of us have Festivus.
Exactly correct.
I mean, what could I say?
That's what you have to say. That's what you have to say. Now, I forgot to get out my sturdy aluminum pole, which I do have. I did throw a Festivus party years ago, but it didn't happen. But let's get back to insulting the Pope. Actually, we're not insulting the Pope. We're detracting the Pope, because this is what some may call, and they may be right, the sin of detraction, which is telling the truth about someone that puts them in a bad light, which I volunteer. All right. Okay. Well, and is he the Pope? Is he the Pope? Is the Pope the vicar of Christ? I'm asking you, John. Is the Pope the vicar of Christ? The answer is yes.
Yes, like in theory.
No theory about it. He is the vicar of Christ.
Officially, yes. In this case, I see what you're getting at.
Well, it is. He has his name printed, Jorge Maria Bergoglio, Pope, but he doesn't use the title Vicar of Christ. And there's a little footnote underneath that says that's a mere historical title. So he's not history because he's here now. And he hasn't said anything since, and he's not the Vicar of Christ. He doesn't stand in for Christ. He doesn't represent Christ. He doesn't rule in his name. And of course, he's not the Pope. He's the Bishop of Rome, if you'll remember. And if you'll remember, the Bishop of Rome, or rather the Pope, lives in the papal apartments. Who's in the papal apartments, John?
Would it be...
Nobody. They're collecting dust. Nobody lives in the papal apartments. Nobody.
That we know of.
Well, yeah. That gets to one of the other issues, the LMNOP activity. That's probably going on right in the papal apartments. Making that one up too.
But again, who are we to judge?
Who indeed, John? Who indeed? And then, of course, what did they find in the Vatican, underneath the Vatican? They found the bones of St. Peter. They have found some of the bones of St. Peter. And what did they do with them, John? Well, they sent them off to the Orthodox, because what are we going to do with them? We don't need that. It's great. We don't need that. Come on. And then we get into, he is, as I maintained before, he is a material and formal heretic on the death penalty, on adulterers receiving communion, on the equality of all religions, which he has signed a document, the Abba Dabba Do Dhabi statement, where, we're all great, we're all together. And he wrote, it's the Bob Barron way, we're all going to get there, it's Parrot Ryan in a nutshell.
How about the pagan idols?
Oh, I was just getting to that. Yes.
Okay. I stole your fog.
Stole my fog. No, of course he's an idolater. He's an idolater. The Pachamama is totally beyond the bounds activity. You cannot do it, and that's where we get into the hierarchy. That's when we get into the cardinals, the archbishops, the bishops, and their total inability to find their gonads and stand up for Christ. And of course, a lot of them don't want to. A lot of them are on Team Bergoglio. A lot of them want this stuff to happen. They want to be part of this one world religion. But and those who don't are quiet as the grave.
I would say they want to be.
They're quiet as the grave. Am I hearing anything? Am I seeing anything? Is anybody getting fired? This is just like 9/11 in the United States. This horrible thing happened. Everyone went out and said, I claim responsibility. Nobody ever lost a job. George Tenet, the head of the CIA, got a medal. He got a medal for it. And that's what's happening in Francis Church. I want to see one cardinal go down. I mean, I just want them flattened. I mean, I just want Francis to come in with his and put the foot down and crush him like a grape. Glory to God. That's what I want to see, and I'm not seeing it. I mean, I think a fine example of that is Cardinal Sarah. Solo Obediencia. You know, he God love him. He said, let's try ad orientem in the Novus Ordo. It's mutual enrichment of the two rights. Remember when we did that? Only in June of 2016 or of this year, rather, excuse me. And that, of course, no, we can't have that. That's way too Catholic. And, you know, he's against the Catholic faith and any expression of the Catholic faith, which is rigid and it's just rigid and horrible. And he won't have it. And, you know, he's found enough people who agree with him that he could, you know, who wear clerical robes and can fill the offices. And, you know, now he's doing it. And of course, Traditionis Custodes, the jailers of tradition. How could we possibly forget that? I mean, well, there's some grievances.
Yeah, and it should be fresh on everyone's mind right now.
Oh, I think it is. I think
on everyone's mind right now.
Absolutely. I think all of us Latin Mass attending Catholics, I think it's a little fresh on our mind. And then, of course, the evil instructions from the Archbishop Roach. Am I pronouncing his name right? I hope not. Yes. And then, you know, this, of course, is horrible. Ryan put out a nice video about, you know, letting all the demons free in the church, and that by suppressing the Latin Rite, which, of course, is absolutely true. We will see if they really do suppress the Rite, which I don't think they will, because I do think there are barely enough priests who will go underground, who will go in the catacombs and do it. And I pray that there are many of them, and there will be many more. We know from our own experience, and anyone who goes to the Latin Mass knows from their experience recently, that since July, more and more people are attending the Latin Mass. Are you there, John? I see you, but there he is.
Yeah, there we go.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can. The screen just blinks.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as if you keep talking, I think, you know, I think usually it's good.
Okay, good enough.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but no, I agree with you there because you can see if any of you attend a Latin Mass, the attendance has increased, and since July, since the shutdowns, since really McCarrick's scandal. I mean, it really shut up. And you make a good point about the priests too. These priests, they the ones that say the Latin Mass, or even the ones that don't, if a few of them even just threaten to step down, every diocese is going to be in like horrific trouble.
Absolutely.
If they lose just a few priests.
That's in America. That's certainly the truth, and I'm sure in Ireland, it's the same way. The same way. That's where priests are very thin on the ground, and spare a prayer for our priests who are crushed, at the beginning, all the way through the seminary, and then they come out and they just, they're under the thumb of bishops who, who are greasy pole climbers and or have no faith and or are practitioners of the LMNOP lifestyle and or just love living large and drinking Cointreau and fondling seminarians, Bishop Bransfield. That's just how they roll. They have a staff, they have a budget, and they can do whatever they want. As long as they don't get on the wrong side of Bergoglio, everything is just Jake. And that's the church we live in.
And being a part of the financial, profession, the budget. Whenever you talk about a budget, quotes, yes. Because their budget is pretty open-ended.
Yeah, well, they're the heads of Corporation Soul. Everything, it's like all your stuff is belonging to me. That's basically legally what it is. I'm the bishop. I represent the diocese. I make all the decisions for the diocese. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying that's just how it is. And in America, that's a pretty sweet deal. And in most of Europe, that's a pretty sweet deal. Now,
well, it depends on the bishop, right?
What's that?
It depends on the bishop.
Does it? Does it? No, they're all pretty fat. They all have a good budget. I mean, if we're talking about the first world bishops, absolutely. Now you get into what was it? My favorite was this poor man. He was a bishop in African country, Burkina Faso.
Okay.
And they. It was Cameroon, and he wanted to go to the capital to participate in the peace talks, and they needed a $2,000 deposit. And he's like, I don't have $2,000. I just don't have it, because he didn't have it. It's because, it's Burkina Faso. It's a really poor African country. It's, I'll never forget, I used to have I went to a parish, had a Filipino priest, and he was from a wealthy family, but he did his stint out in the woods, up in the mountains, and people would bring their offerings. They'd bring up a goat, they bring up produce, because that's what they had. And he's like, what am I supposed to do with this? It's like, eat it. They're like, eat it. That's what it's for.
There you go.
I mean, he was shocked because he very much was from small R rich and I mean, I had a friend who courted on the internet and ended up marrying a fine Filipino woman, and he went over to visit. He went over to meet her. After years of back and forth on the internet, and he got there. Flew into the airport, got out of Manila, got on a boat, went to another island, went to the end of that island, got on a smaller boat, went to another island, and then he got to her island, and then he had to walk, and, he had to catch a cab, and then he had to get out of the cab, and then he had to walk a couple miles, and he finally got to her house, and he gave them great gifts. There was 2 sisters and the mother that lived there, and he was after the older sister. He gave them all blue jeans, and they thought he was like Rockefeller.
Yeah.
They met, they married, they're back here in the States. She's the sweetest girl in the world. And he's very happy. He's very happy, and he's very unfortunate to have her. But what is this to do with the airing of grievances? Nothing.
Hey. Yeah.
Just for a second, to the laity. Yes.
Okay, and did you skip the priests?
Yeah, everyone else does. I mean, oh, I can't do anything because my bishop won't will be mean to me. Oh, I can't leave my apostolate. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Well, and what did our friend Ryan just do? What did he just do? He wrote to the Coalition of Canceled Priests. Did you read that?
Yes.
And he said, okay, since you're all just canceled, sitting there, like in a firehouse, waiting for the sacramental call, here it is. You come, say the Latin Mass every day, you get a place to live, and the best stipend we can scrape up for you. Haven't heard back yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
We will see. We will see. But could it just be, I don't know, just a money raising event and not really worried about getting priests back in circulation and doing sacramental activity as they're supposed to, want to, that they're all worried about, that they're canceled? We do await. We will keep you up to date on that.
Yeah, and here's the thing with the priests, the ones that say the Novus Ordo and the Latin Mass, not for long.
Not for long.
That they say they want to keep their parishes. All right, but you're losing your Latin Mass community and your donations and your support. And so what are you going to do? You're losing all the good people. And then for they'll say, oh, we'll just say a Reverend Father Richard Heilman. We'll just say a really Reverend Novus Ordo. Well, guess what? They're going to come after that too. I mean, you think the Latin, like they say, oh, we'll just say the Novus Ordo in Latin. Oh, really? Until your bishop puts a stop to it, right?
Exactly. The Bishop of Costa Rica, he found there's one priest there who was doing the Latin Mass in the whole country. Not that it's a huge country, but he was doing it. And they said, oh, the Latin Mass is banned in Costa Rica. He goes, oh, okay, great. I'll say the Novus Ordo in Latin. It's in every document of the Catholic Church. Every document of the Catholic Church that pertains to the Novus Ordo talks about the right to do it in Latin. And they suspended him. They just suspended him. It's like, go home and think about it for 6 months and come back and talk to us. Yeah. So
I mean, they don't want reverent liturgy, no matter if it's a Latin Mass, Novus Ordo, whatever.
Apparently not. No, apparently.
And when your bishop comes to shut you down, you say you're saying the Latin Mass, even though it's in the Novus Ordo. I'm pretty sure that a Latin Novus Ordo is fully compliant with Vatican II.
It's totally compliant with Vatican II. It's totally compliant with the post-Vatican II. There isn't a document that says you cannot do it. There's no positive command that says you cannot do Mass in Latin. As a matter of fact, what did we wait for jailers of tradition? We waited for the official, that means in Latin, version of the motu proprio. Oh, is that a Latin word? Yeah, it is. Yeah, Pope Francis hates Latin. Well, I hate you, Pope Francis, you non-Latin person, you. Oh, even though he's from Latin America? Yeah, even though. Let me just say, well, you want to talk about the priest. The priests are going to fold like cheap tents. They have been picked for their ability to fold, i.e. obey, even though, well, I don't know, how many Catholic priests, not members of the SSPX, kept their churches open last year during the virus? That would be a grand total.
Let me calculate that.
Yeah. Why don't you get it? Yeah. Use your math skills.
I think it's
I know the screen
somewhere close to zero.
Yeah, it's really close to zero. Now, some of them, much to their credit, did mass anyway. And some of them did masses outside, I mean, let's not, some of them did masses outside in places where, we could all be safe from the COVID cooties. And others
Yeah.
did masses that no one talks about.
Yeah,
But
probably more than we know about.
well, yes, obviously more than we know about.
Well, yeah, I mean,
but not a majority, not even close to majority. And how many people and bishops and whatnot are saying, it's practically the same. I mean, I made the joke that I was, all I needed to do was figure out how to consecrate at home, and I was never going to need to go to mass again. I mean, I could forgive my own sins with a perfect act of contrition. I could pray all the prayers of the mass. I could do a spiritual communion. It's like, I just need the real thing. Do it at home, and boom. And you're like a proddy kit maybe or something, and they could send you or maybe they could just send the consecrated host in the mail. I don't know, and then you could, that might
yeah.
that
Well,
might have worked.
Some of them were handing them out in plastic bags.
Oh yeah, they did do that. Yes, the kits. Yes, they did do the kits. But the main point is the amount of people, certainly in America, in almost all in many parts of the world, the amount of the priests that followed the law of the church and offered the sacraments, which is their job, was vanishingly close to zero. So we know the law. We know how this is going to go. Well, I still have my Novus Ordo parish, and they, and it's still licit and valid. It's still licit and valid. You know why it's licit and valid? Only by the grace of God himself, because man and his rules have nothing to do with it. Because God isn't going to let his church go totally without. He's just not. And you can tell, and I can speak authoritatively about this because I'm a member of the laity. I'm a member of the laity. I can say what I want. And Pope Francis can now put an interdict on me. I should be so lucky. So, but let me say this about that. Let's go on to something else.
Okay.
Let's go on to China. 12 million Catholics hung out to dry. Not only are they hung out to dry, many are put in jail and in prisons. And we're talking bishops here. Bishops put in prison and kept there for years on end, tortured, laity tortured, imprisoned, and not a peep from the guy who's supposed to name bishops. They get all cranky if anyone else names a bishop, except for the Chinese. They can name all the bishops they want, and of course Pope Francis will approve it. And isn't it funny that they just took down there is a lovely statue of Tank Man, the man who stood in front of the tanks in Tiananmen Square. They immortalized him in bronze. And guess what just came down today? That very statue came down.
I didn't know
was
that.
taken because it was in Hong Kong, and of course this is right after the new Bishop of Hong Kong was named, and of course it was approved by Francis, and of course it was also approved by the CCP, because are they a dicastery? Are
they probably donate enough money to be unofficially a dicastery.
Well, that's the thing. There was that big splashy statement by a Chinese.
He was a billionaire.
Yeah, Chinese billionaire, and he said, "Oh yeah, they give $2 billion a year to the Catholic Church." There's never.
We don't know if that's true or not.
Well,
but
we
you
don't
know what?
We don't know that. Well, I don't think we do know. I don't think we.
It seems believable.
It does seem believable. They have $2 billion to spend on things like that, absolutely. And I don't know, because they're really, they're all worried about this 100 million that they lost in this building in London. Oh, by the way, the one they blamed Becciu for, but it was actually Pope Francis who made the call. Pope Francis is the one that said, go ahead and pay off Gianluigi Torzi, because they had totally bilked the Vatican. They said, okay, we're going to buy this building, and then you buy the shares from us. And they're like, oh, yeah, that's what we'll do. That's what we'll do. And they did. And so they're like, ready? They're like, okay, I'm off. And they said, we're going to do this to the building. We're going to do that. It's going to be great. And he goes, wait, no, you're not going to do anything to that building. You see all those shares that you bought? Yeah, it's like 95% of the shares. Yeah, we control. It's like, no, look, if you read the shares, you'll see that all these shares you bought add up to 1%, and I own the other 99% with this 5% of shares over here. Now, if you want them, it's going to cost you $15 million. And Pope Francis is the man that said, go ahead and pay him. I don't know. But he's willing to, but he took Becciu's fine red hat for it. And look at you, John. I'm going to take that red hat. I'm going to come up there and I'm going to take that red
hat. I don't know. This thing, you could probably get something like this at Dollar Tree for $1.
Or $1.
But the other red hat.
$1.25 soon to that, by the way. Yes. But yes. Well, John, I've been motoring on for a long time. The airing of grievances is, you can't live there. Although Pope Francis has lived there for 8 years airing his grievances against us. But, and while I am a bitter and angry man in general, I try not to be. I think, but I try not to be. So, what are the comments? Is there only one comment?
Well, you didn't get to the laity yet.
I'm against them. I'm against them because, here we are. There's 100,000 of us. There's 100,000 Latin Mass Catholics in America. That's the estimate. And I think that's fair. I think that's about right. So, and how many Catholics are there in America? It's about, I don't know, at least 60 million. At least 60 million. I think it's more like 80. I think it's 80 million Catholics, and it's 100,000 of us. So, it ain't a lot. I mean, there aren't a lot. I mean, percentage-wise, is that 1%? It's tiny. What is it?
It's pretty small. It's less. Because 1% would be 600,000. So.
Yeah. So we're about. Let's be generous and give us 2% of Catholics in America.
Well, and are you counting the ones that don't attend Mass?
Yeah,
60 million figure.
Yeah, they're Catholics.
Okay. Yeah.
The church counts them. All the anyone that says, "Oh, I'm Catholic," they're Catholic. I mean, we could go through the baptismal records and come up with a better thing. And of course, the church does that every year. We don't have the church numbers with us right now, but we know 2%. So a great amount of people don't even know we exist, even though we scream and holler a lot on the internet and on social media and, make a big splash in comparison to our numbers. But a lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't care. But this is to the other percentage, and I don't know how many are. They're against us. Because if people didn't care or they were for us, and then the Pope did something like this, it would be a big stink. The church would be riven and everyone would be screaming and hollering, you can't do this. This is insane. This is nasty. And we won't stand for it. And if you don't do it, we're all walking. Do you see that? Do you see that, John? I don't see it. I don't.
I'm seeing a lot. There's supporters from the mainstream church.
Mm-hmm.
There are some supporters, and
there are some. Yeah.
I'm a little optimistic about that. Now, and if you look at Taylor Marshall, he's approaching Bishop Barron's number of subscribers on YouTube. Because Taylor Marshall,
we own YouTube. I mean, the trads own YouTube. I mean, there are, like you say, Although who's the biggest guy on Twitter? The James Martin of it all, as far as Catholics.
Yeah, but he's not followed by Catholics.
He isn't? Oh, I bet he is.
Very few.
You mean very few, as in more than Bishop Barron or?
Well, I guess it
Taylor
means
Marshall or any of those other people.
I guess it really depends. If are people who reject church teaching Catholics? I guess it really depends how you define that.
I guess it does. I guess it does. And there's always room for that. Well, they don't even need to be just as they are. It's only faithful Catholics and traditionalist Catholics and Latin Mass attending Catholics who are in the doghouse.
Well,
it's only us and all our lay friends, and I think you're right. There are people out there who support us, but go to the Novus Ordo. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, where will all our future trads come from? They'll come from the Novus Ordo Church. They will flee that burning building, and they'll come to us. That's the ones that want to still be Catholic. That's what will happen. But having said that, I say it's close to a majority of the Novus Ordo Catholics hate us. They do. Not in an active way, because they're not active about anything, but they despise us. They will not lift a finger. You know what they're like? They're like this. They're like the priest and the Samaritan, the priest and the Levite, who just go past the injured man because he's a Samaritan and he's none of theirs. And they have to keep themselves ritually clean to go to the temple to praise God. And that's my grievance against you lay people. Most of you are on the side of Francis. Francis is Pope. He's the Pope, even though he probably conned his way into and connived and broke the sainted John Paul II's rules about conclave. But no one will investigate. No real person will investigate. No group of cardinals will investigate, because they're all a bunch of lily-livered cowards and corrupt wannabe popes. Did I say that out loud? John? I think I did.
Maybe you can edit it later. I mean, this is live, but I can always go back, right?
Great. Yeah.
Hey, let me air my grievances a little bit about the laity.
Please.
So, we've heard some speeches and different things where people have said, "Oh, we just need to reflect on ourselves, and this is this is an opportunity for us."
We need to be more. We need to be more Catholic. Yeah.
Well, we're going to use this as an opportunity, not a
sanctification.
This is an opportunity for reflection, and I said, okay, and I don't think there's anything wrong with prayer.
No,
obviously not. Prayer and fasting. That's what a lot of people are saying. Okay, great. Father Mark, I remember this. Father Mark Goring, whenever the videos that he has since deleted, the ones that he temporarily got shut down for, he said, whenever this corruption is in the church, and you're Catholics, we need to pray, we need to discern what we need to do, but then we need to do something.
Yes.
And if you're not going to take action in some way or another, you're just going to sit there, and you're going to, and here's the thing. I have two points I want to make here. The first point is saints. So just can you imagine, what if St. Catherine of Siena said, "Oh, I'm just going to wait for someone else to do something"? Nothing would have got done. What about St. Paul calling out St. Peter? If he would have said, that's not my place. No one would have said anything. So there are points. Now, is it our job to criticize Pope Francis every second of every day? No, because that's useless. He doesn't care. But at the same time, we got to do something. The second point is, if your mass gets shut down on Sunday, you can do all the prayer and reflection that you want, but you have 7 days to decide what you're going to do that following Sunday.
Yep.
So the laity, wake up, get your game plan. We need to rally together. I don't know how. You got to discern that for yourself, what you're going to do. But we all got to do something. That's the reason why I started this channel, to speak out against corruption. And it was inspired by Father Mark Goring, and this has stuck with me, even though the video hasn't stuck on YouTube because he deleted it because he was ordered to. But
yes, right.
We can speak up for these priests, and we can speak up for our faith.
Amen.
And, you know, what do you do in your community? Do you want to bring in, say, do you want to try to bring in SSPX Church? Maybe you're the only one. But it doesn't hurt to reach out, you know? It doesn't hurt to try to network with other Catholics. And I don't have any advice right now. I know that that's kind of a bad thing, and I'm criticizing the laity for just sitting around and complaining.
It's the airing of grievances. It's once a year. We're allowed. And you know what? They're more than welcome, and I'm sure if anyone ever noticed us, we would be criticized, and that's okay. You know.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? Like, I'm not criticizing my bishop to his face. I'd like to actually talk to him personally and have a very cordial conversation.
No, that's
I'm not an angry person.
Oh, I am. And I don't want to speak to my bishop. I don't. I do not want to speak to my bishop. I won't write to my bishop. I won't ask my bishop to do the right thing. He's supposed to know. He's the bishop. He's supposed to know what to do, what the right thing is to do, and to do it. The only thing I could excoriate him. I could exhort him to be a Catholic, but you know, we know he's not going to listen. I mean, and you know, the moment anyone raises their voice, Isaiah, Jeremiah, they're not listened to. John the Baptist, Jesus Christ. Oh yeah, let's talk about the airing of grievances. If you go to Matthew chapter 23, what will you read but Jesus himself airing his grievances against the Pharisees? Woe to thee, hypocrites! He does a whole monologue of ranking them out, airing his grievances, telling them where to step off. John the Baptist, he sees the Pharisees coming. What does he say? Hello, Pharisees. I'm from a religious family myself. My dad was a priest. No,
all are welcome.
Yeah, all are welcome. No, what does he say? Who told you to flee from the coming wrath, you brood of vipers? That's what he said, you know. Yes, and he was, and both the man God and the man were rewarded by the world for those very words. And John the Baptist, of course, the greatest born among men, and of course Jesus Christ, the man God.
Yeah. Yeah, just a little side note there. Even though I sort of identify with St. John the Evangelist,
of course,
you know, the eagle is kind of represented.
Absolutely.
My parents named me after St. John the Baptist.
There you go.
Which is pretty sweet.
Absolutely.
I think it's pretty cool. He probably had a nice long beard, and I don't know that I'd want to wear, like, what did he wear on?
A leathern belt and
camel skin or
camel's hair. Yes.
Camel's hair, yeah.
Well, you know, camel hair coat's beautiful.
See, I think the wild honey would be okay, but the locust, I don't know about that.
You dip the locust in the honey. It's great. Crunchy, sweet. How much would you pay for that at a restaurant? Trust me. You got to go out and find the wild honey. That's an expensive ingredient. You got to go out and get the locust, get the best locust, fresh, fatten them up, maybe. Who knows? And then you actually get them. Then you just I guess you
that reminds
throw
me of
some carbon dioxide on them to kill them off, and then crunch.
That reminds me of something completely unrelated and completely irrelevant. But around here, there's Chinese restaurants that are getting shut down because they serve deer meat.
Really? So they don't advertise it on the menu, do they? No.
Well, no, but I think they have most of them are buffets.
Right.
But I thought, like, whenever I eat it, I'm like, I don't care if it's deer or cow or chicken or whatever. I'm looking for
if it's
something
in
that
this
tastes
tasty
good.
sauce, I'm going to eat it.
Yeah, I don't care what you put in the sweet and sour sauce. It tastes good if it's cooked. If it's
right?
cooked and it tastes good, who
And
cares?
it hits
But
that wok. It hits that wok. You get that nice sear on it, and then, like you say, you dip it in the tasty sauce. It's all good. Yeah.
and here I'll air my grievances against the overreaching government. Since when do
Yay!
you care about regulating food unless it's cooked? It's all about regulating food and increasing the price of things,
Do
and the
we have
government getting their cut of the tax.
exactly? Do we have too many deer? Yes. The
Yes,
answer is yes.
absolutely. Yes.
Absolutely. And you know what? Every deer eaten is one deer that's not going to run out in front of your car and kill somebody.
There you
And you know
go.
what? They're all going to hunted, which is a natural thing for a deer to do. That's what deer exists for, to be hunted by other creatures and by the man with the gun. And they're tasty. We live in that part of the world where deer are plentiful, and we've all eaten deer meat inadvertently, apparently, in some cases. But it's good
Well,
stuff. It's good stuff. I got friends, they're snobs. I'm only going to eat the loin. Oh no, just turn the rest into. We're just going to turn the rest into burger. You got to take it to this guy. He does a really great job. This other, yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing. And around here, the state highway, they'll go out and they'll scrape them up, and he's in good shape. Off to the plant he goes to be processed. Is it
yeah.
better to waste it? Is it better, or is it better to put it on the buffet? Whatever.
Yeah. Well, and are
Just
they
don't tell me.
invading? Well, and they're invading residential areas. When you see deer in residential areas, it's time to,
Yeah,
cut
it's
down the
time to hunt them.
population.
It's time to hunt them, and since we don't want bears running around, oh, we have those too. Yes, we do have bear. Apparently, who do a lousy job at hunting deer. I guess because we still have plenty of deer, and now we have plenty of bear. I mean, I've seen bear scat in my backyard.
Yeah.
And
Well, and bears are strangely elusive because
there's
I had
nothing
one.
strange about it. They're smart and they're savvy.
Well, we had a neighbor call us and say, "Hey, there's a bear that just ran through your backyard." I'm like, "Darn!" I want my camera out and take some photos, but nope. Anyway, Brett, this has got a little bit off topic.
Well, wait. Well, okay. Well, that's what I don't see the comments. So, is anyone commenting? Does anyone care?
Yeah, there's some SSPX stuff. Thanks for joining us, everyone, on the live stream.
Yay!
Ryan
will be back soon.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's any comments. Let's see. Klaus Schwab loves eating locusts. Okay. All right. Yeah, and the SSPX. The SSPX were having public masses. Yes. So this one, like, I don't want to get in an argument today. Like, the SSPX, they had masses. Like, they were having public masses whenever the Novus Ordo masses, like, they weren't having Novus Ordo masses.
Well,
I don't know how
now where's Patty McGill from? I don't know where he's from.
I don't know. The SSP, it was spotty though. Like, some of them had them, some of them didn't. But the fact is, some SSPX churches had public masses when every single Novus Ordo was shut down.
Yeah, now we're talking about America here. Now in Ireland,
yeah.
they might well have been arrested, and I don't know. I don't know. It's Patty McGill. You sound like you're from Ireland. I don't know. But in this country, the SSPX were one of the few religious organizations that actually sued in court to get the right to have open and free masses. Them and some Protestants and a few Jews.
Yeah, that's your
no Catholics.
Dialogue.
But the only Catholic who hit the courts was the Bishop of Brooklyn, DiMarzio. He's the only one that actually had a case in the courts. Nobody else did.
Yeah, and in California, it was the SSPX that sued and won.
Right.
And you would think that maybe Gomez would try that,
Nah.
or Soto,
No.
or any one of the bishops. No, it was an SSPX priest. So
Exactly.
But then, what else? I kind of lost my train of thought there.
All right. Well, I feel like we have aired some grievances. There's no grievances because it's the same meetings we've received. And the one grievance I want to air is an old grievance. It's the one that first came to all of our attention almost immediately after Pope Francis assumed the position, is that he does not and will not kneel to Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament. He's the only Catholic priest in the world that I know that won't do that. I mean, I've seen infirm priests, I've seen really obese priests. They'll do they'll do something. He does nothing. For that reason alone, he should be excoriated and reprimanded by his brother bishops. No one in the hierarchy has ever said anything publicly ever about it. Silence equals consent. That's the canon law. So that's my grumpiness about it. On the other hand, tomorrow's the vigil of Christmas, and then after that is Christmas Day. And let us celebrate Christmas forward, not Christmas backward. Now, Christmas backward was, of course, putting up your tree Thanksgiving weekend, Friday. The Friday after Thanksgiving, Black Friday. Let me get this right. You put up the tree on Wednesday. So when all your family comes for Thanksgiving on Thursday, the Christmas tree is up. On Friday, you go out shopping, and then you go to a bar. And then, as soon as it turns December, you start wishing people Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. And then, of course, we're coming up on the big day. Oh, and I forgot, the way to celebrate Advent is to get an Advent calendar where you get treats every day. And then, that way you're indulging yourself every day. And then, of course, you have to get all excited and go out and spend a lot of money on presents, and then you have to have Festivus because, you're so cranked out about, the commercialization of Christmas. And then the big day comes. We all get together with family and friends. We exchange gifts. We sing songs. We go to Mass. And then December 26th, what happens, John?
Shut off the Christmas music, take down your trees.
And that's over. It's over. And that's Christmas backwards. As Catholics, we're called to do Christmas forward, which would be celebrating, well, not celebrating, is being penitential during Advent, the beginning of the church year, and doing some fasting, observing the Ember Days, getting ready, going to confession, probably the biggest thing that people can do during Advent. And then, of course, the vigil of Christmas, Christmas Day. And what's that? Day one, baby. Day one of a 12-day feast. 12 days of Christmas. And we end up with, the Feast of the Epiphany. And, of course, Christmas doesn't end there. When does Christmas end? February 2nd, the feast, Candlemas, the feast of the presentation. Oh dear, I don't know.
Presentation of the Lord.
It's the feast of the presentation of the Lord. So there you go. 40 days of Christmas, 12 days of Christmas proper, but 40 days of the Christmas season. So get ready. We're going to have a good time. Hope you've been wishing people, penitential Advent, but now you can wish them Merry Christmas from now till February.
Exactly. And the closing thought, I remembered what I forgot, and that is, I just wanted to say the bishops of Minnesota you remember whenever they pushed back against the government?
Yes.
The state government wanted them to stay shut down, and they said, no, we're really going to open churches. And the government was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do. Can you do that? Can the laity and the priests and the bishops push back a little bit against any of these unjust restrictions we're seeing? Restrictions on...
No, we have to wait for the Pope to die.
Mass. Can anyone push back on it?
No.
We can. I'm here to tell you, you can.
What?
We can.
No.
You know why, Brett?
Why?
Because we are the laity.
And we will not be silent. Hooah! Merry Christmas.